You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Broadcasting from the Blanchistan Center, this is Phoenix FM.
This is 92.5 Phoenix FM, community radio for Dublin 15.
Hey everybody, it's JB Jeremy Borash, and you are listening to Darrow O'Connor on the...
All right, guys, welcome to the show, and welcome to my video store. This is the Pro Wrestling Rewind. If you're listening to us on podcast and like, what the hell are you talking about? You should watch the stream. We stream every Friday night at 11:30 GMT and 6:30 Eastern.
Yeah. Somewhere between 6:30 and 7 o'clock, your stream pops up. And you know how you'll find out exactly how it pops up? If you click that subscribe button and the bell notification, you'll know as soon as we go live. And Absolutely. If you're like, how do I even find you on YouTube? Don't even bother. Just go in your URL and type in the Wrestling Rewind, and it will take you right to our page.
Absolutely. That's it. There's no excuse. No excuse for you not to be here. But of course, we are here. And if you're in the chat, if you're in the stream, let us know. And your message will pop up in this lovely little chat box that we have, which I've set up. Finally, Dave, it has happened after many promises. Of saying, hey, look, I will update the computer, I'll move it over. This is what the show should look like when we have proper RAM and technology, rather than my laptop, which screams and cries every time it tries to stream. So this is what the shows are going to look like from now on. I like this background like a lot.
We may have to, again, sorry folks who are listening audio, we may have to spray paint Dara's headphones white, but other than that, because I kind of disappear off into the background. But look, It still works. It's okay. Right.
I like it. I have my Instagram girl light over here. So that's helping a lot. But other than that, it's all good. I have to say, James Truepenny kind of told us some stuff after we went off the air last week about the numbers. Guys, for anyone who listens on the Truepenny channel, thank you so much. The numbers shocked and amazed both Dave and myself. We do appreciate it, and we're thrilled that you guys like our total nonsense that we talked on the show. But no, it is very much appreciated, and we have a lot more to get through. Okay, so Dave, how have you been, man? We're on episode 52, so we're getting up there, man. Really getting up there now.
It is a great day for wrestling, everyone. Welcome back to the only show hosted by people who don't hate wrestling. And I think you'll see that this week for sure. Good, hectic, crazy. To find a way to fit things in where you didn't think they'd fit. No double entendre needed. Point is, we're ready to roll. So let's dive into some awesomeness. Dara, you did pretty good in your video store there. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's the place to be for now. I think it's a fitting place. You can see a nice bunch of wrestling videos there. Here's the weird thing. I remember this is how you watched wrestling when you weren't like taping it. So this works. I think this is very appropriate for how it goes.
Do you have any, just total side note, do you have any wrestling VHS cassettes, not the ones that like your grandmother taped for you and such, but some actual ones from like the 90s or anything?
Yeah, Dave, they're behind me. Do you not see them?
Oh, okay. Wait, are we kayfabing your background? Is that what we're going for here?
I know, I actually do. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. This is a real work on
absolutely.
Side. Well, I personally, and I'll never get rid of it. I have a VHS that's like the best of WrestleMania, and it has 4 random matches on it that aren't the matches you would think are the best of WrestleMania. I know there's like a Legion of Doom table match or something. It's great. I watched it multiple times as a child. So
here's the weird thing, right? So you guys had a different distributor for WWE tapes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we had Silvervision, but then Silvervision went bankrupt around like 2004. And now WWE UK Home Videos send out the videos. They actually support the show as well, so shout out to them too. But it's been a while since Silver. Like, you go back and watch even the shows that we're watching now on VHS, and Silvervision pops up, and it's like, that's not a thing anymore. So that's how we watch them now. Now, I remember if we didn't tape them, the only solution was to go and buy them, and you'd go into H&V, which you guys don't have over there, but it was like a big retailer. Yeah, well, no. Blockbuster was like a convenience store.
Walmart, where they just sell like videos also.
H&V is more like a record store, but also you'd buy videos and DVDs and games.
So basically everything that doesn't exist anymore you could find in that store.
Absolutely. And yeah, that was that kind of thing, and you'd go in there and you'd have the WDB collection around the back beside the heavy metal. So even as a kid, I was there a lot, and it was about £20. Yeah, it was about £20. Pounds left about 2002. Yeah, 2002.
Actually, that makes perfect sense. I actually remember for a while. I haven't seen these metrics in forever now, but it used to be regular weekly news stories on what are the highest selling DVDs for this week, and wrestling was always in the top 5, if not multiple things within them.
Oh man, absolutely!
Like Best Buy and stores like that, like that's what people were buying. Like wrestling had a very dominant, and it's even went into DVDs for a long time. Now with the network, I don't think they push that stuff as hard, but
yeah. Like with WD, like what was it? We've even had like the whole reason why ECW came back was because of video sales.
Yeah.
So it was kind of one of those things where we're like, great, this is good. This is what we want. But to answer your question, yes, I had a few of them. I had they were random collections. So Backlash 1999 was one, because I actually missed that one, so I had to go back and watch it. Say Valentine's Day Massacre was one, but I randomly got that secondhand. I don't remember how I ended up with that, but it was secondhand. I had WrestleMania X7, because of course I did. Everyone had, you had to. The greatest wrestling event of all time.
Well,
you'll see. Wait till you see.
Somebody didn't watch Crown Jewel.
And what else? Yeah, I had a bunch of them. Not as many now as you normally have, but I had a massive stack of videos. But the majority of them were just the black tape with the label, WWF, whatever it was on it, So that was how the majority of us watched wrestling. I think I had an innovation, and how my tape library grew even more was when my dad discovered how to record tape to tape. So you'd go to the video store and you'd set up one tape and you'd record a tape, and then you'd take the copy. And that exponentially grew out of my wrestling library.
This is really going to date us, as if this whole intro conversation hasn't. But I know you'll know this, but maybe listeners won't. So the most brilliant thing was companies that put out VHS tapes thought they were super brilliant when it came to copyright protection. And so there would be this little black knob essentially that would hang off a cassette that would keep it from being read into, so you couldn't record it to something else. But the workaround was literally break this tab off. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
No. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It just wasn't, sure, look, copyright, they've tried, but the worst thing you can do, and we've said about this on the network in general, many times, piracy is always going to happen. So the best way to do it is just make it cheap and affordable, and then piracy doesn't happen. Case in point, I have a WWE Network subscription. It is more convenient for me to have a WWE subscription than to steal from WWE.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, that's
just
the
do
reason.
That and you're fine.
Yeah, so. I mean, for years, Lucas didn't want to release Star Wars on VHS tapes because of that. And then even when DVDs came out, it was like, I don't want to release it on DVDs because I don't want it to be copied. And then he made $4 billion selling it to Disney, and they made movies that nobody would want to copy. So really, he got what he wanted in the end.
Yeah, nobody ever wants to watch it. You know what? I don't want to get too on Star Wars, but if I never watched those movies again, I would not be sad. I watched Rogue One, the end of Rogue One a fair bit. But there's only 6 Star Wars movies, so that's it. It's fine. But yeah, everyone who's checking out the True Penny channel, guys, thank you so much for your support. And again, look, email us. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. This is the only show where we 100% want you guys to be involved from a point of you pick something, we'll watch it. So I don't know if James has that rule he always seems has a good thing to run through himself. But with us, we're like, yeah, man, if you want to watch it, we will. But before we get into tonight's real topic, we have to talk about what's coming up tomorrow. And again, kudos to Impact Wrestling. Impact Wrestling, I named them my product of the year, wrestling product of the year for 2020. But what
Speaking
I love
of which,
about
before we jump on, yeah, it's also worth mentioning the show's up now already on the True Penny channel, where we sat down with him and we did our picks for the best of 2020. So if you guys haven't checked that show out, please do. I'm not sure if the video is up yet, but
the video is up, yeah.
There you go. Type in the Wrestling Rewind, watch it. It is a super fun show. We all had different answers for everything, which I think that just shows you how diverse it is. Speaking of which, we'll now jump into Dara's topic for Wrestling Program of the Year, because he didn't attend any GCW events.
Dude, I can't leave 5K outside of my area. Like, I'm not going anywhere this year. Well, probably, hopefully, but we don't know anyway. So, what great thing about Impact is their pay-per-views are on a Saturday night. I love that. I think that's the way it should be, because people have jobs. WWE, please. What are you doing? Like, Saturday Night Wrestling just makes way more sense. It's a great thing about NXT as well. But I love the Impact.
UFC
and well. UFC, yeah. And it's weird. UFC starts at like 5 a.m. for us and you can still watch it. It's an event. What used to happen is you go out to the pub or to a nightclub and then come back and watch UFC locked. That's what you do. But no, you don't. Now you just stay up and sad drink, apparently.
Yeah, I'm sure that. I'm sure that's why wrestling pay-per-views are on Sundays, to avoid boxing. Probably was the decision back then. When, now people cared, but
But now, man, like I will, like, the run will obviously, I'm going to struggle through, but I'm going to be like, oh, I have work the next morning. So I'm just like, okay, this is going to suck. But at least it's something that can be done with AEW. Not AEW, sorry, with Impact Wrestling, which has AEW stars on it. We'll get to that. I can just watch it and then live my life normally on Sunday. But yeah, fair play. And I think it is because they're aware of their UK base, the way how popular they are in the UK and Ireland. So fair play, lads. Good job. But this is happening on January the 16th from Nashville, Tennessee, where the Impact Zone is. The event will crown the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Championship, and this has been deactivated since 2013, so that's a pretty interesting thing in and of itself. But the first match is going to be, obviously for that, it's going to be the Tag Team Championship, Knockouts Tag Team Championship, Havoc and Navita versus Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steele. So I don't know, I think Havoc and Neva have a lot more going into this. They're my pick to win, but when they have these vacancy matches, one of two things could happen. They could end up going straight for a long-term storyline or just paying something off. And it seems like since he brought these back, this is like the first in a series. So really, it can go to either one. Yeah,
I don't have strong feelings on this one. It could kind of go either way. I don't.
Yeah, it's
nothing
too hard
jumps out at me. Like, I followed the storylines, and it's kind of like, well, I don't.
Yeah, it's one that I think will probably open the show.
That said, not complaining. I love wrestling matches where I have no idea who's going to win.
Absolutely. 6-man tag team match: Rich Swann, Chris Sabin, and Moose versus Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers. So here you go. I said there's going to be AEW talent on it, and they have the AEW champion.
If you want to watch wrestling, watch this match.
Yeah,
I don't care if you don't watch the rest of the card. Yep. I am so excited for this match, and not just the whole Bullet Club thing. It's not just because I'm a huge mark for Luke and Gallows, for Gallows and Anderson. But oh my gosh, you got Swan, Sabin, Moose somehow snuck in, and Kenny. And
Someone has to take the pin.
Somebody has to take the pin. Yeah, we know who's winning, but if this isn't fantastic, I don't know what else would be. I mean, it's going to be over the top. People are going to pan it for, it's too dramatic or not. But I think it'll be a really, really fun wrestling match at the end of the day.
Those people who are upset need to come to my video store and watch old wrestling, and then they'll understand.
Be happy.
They'll have a good time. Pick up.
Well, I guess you need to take something back though, Dara.
Well, what do I need to take?
You told me that there could never be a working relationship between the Good Brothers and people from AEW because of a contract situation.
Well, this was my mistake for listening to the marks on the internet. I apologize. This is why you don't believe what's on the sheets. This is why you just watch it and have a good time.
Let me put it this way. I was once offered to write an article for someplace, and they blatantly, I'm going to leave it super, super vague. And for this particular magazine, they said, hey, make sure you put in quotes for wrestlers. And I said, okay, how do I get in touch with them? And they said, no, just make them up. They're okay with it. And I was like, I will not write anything for you. Because, at the time I was fresh out of school with my degree in journalism. But looking back, like, Iconic magazine would have kind of been fun. But at the same time, man, I can't do that.
Yeah. Although to be fair, man, I was once told that from someone teaching journalism to make quotes up.
Wow.
Yeah. So, apparently it's a thing that's done. But I can tell you guys that when we say stuff, we say when we make it up. We don't just claim.
We do. We're honest.
We're honest. But obviously, the Omega and Good Brothers are winning this one. There's no way they're losing it. It's just not happening. And that's why Moose is in the match to take the pin. So it's going to be a phenomenal match. Well, you said it's the one match to watch, Dave. Yes. When I go through the card,
there's another match that you.
There's another match,
miss.
But here's the thing: when this one might have gone under the radar. Yeah, this might have gone. That's why we're covering it at the start of the show. This one might have gone under the radar for some people. Make it your business to watch this show because it's very easy to watch this show. You can actually download the Impact app on Roku. On the Roku box, I'm like, oh wow, it's there. So fair play, man. They've really gone above and beyond to make this easy to watch. And
I know you've been alternating. Is this one of the free ones, or is this one of the $4.99 subscription ones? I believe. Don't quote me on that price.
Yeah, look, I'm not sure myself, but even if it is one to pay, I'll probably pay. I'm in. I'm more than likely pay it, if not on the night, probably later on. But I'm more than likely will be watching it live because it's worth it. Like. I'll explain why when we get to it, but my interest is
blowing my mind.
Absolutely,
that I'm so this excited for them.
Well, look, Manik, Chris Bay, and Rohit Raju is the next match for the X Division Championship. Now, I love everything that Rohit is doing. I think he's one of the best things to happen to the X Division, and the fact that Manik now has the belt again, it adds that cool dynamic where we've never really seen Rohit actually chase the belt for this long. Manik is obviously TJ Perkins, so phenomenal wrestler in and of itself. I'm very excited for this one. I hope they open with this match because this will be a really cool match to set the pace for everything. But we have to see. I'm going to say Manik probably retains. It's probably a bit too soon for he to retain. But Chris Bay is definitely the one taking the pin on this one.
It's tough because I actually really enjoy Chris Bay's work.
So do I. But
that tag match we watched a couple of weeks ago, I was like, oh, he's the standout from this tag. I think you're going to keep it with TJP or Manik because, build it, add some reputation to it. You got enough craziness going on to this show that, as weird as this sounds, a title changing hands, and not that the X Division title is a minor title. It's not. It's what built the company, but it's not going to grab the same headlines as if, say, they do this in the next pay-per-view that they have. So put out the crazy 2 matches that we know you're putting out, and maybe let TJP develop a little bit more and add some more meaning.
Absolutely. A lot of titles on the line here tonight. So our next title match, which is the last one of the night, is your girl, Deanna Purrazzo.
I don't see Dashwood on this list. I'm looking.
Deanna Purrazzo versus Taya Valkyrie for the
Am I allowed to pick
up?
Oh, no. Don't say that.
What? You have to say it now. That's the rule.
Oh, based on the amount of water that they hydrate themselves with during the day.
I see. I'm going to go with Purrazzo to retain.
I like that you know what I mean, even though that's the farthest from what I could possibly mean. You're brilliant, Dara.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think Jersey Girl's got this one. I don't see her giving up the belt yet. I think that she will have a feud with Emma. Oh my God, I'm sorry. Dashwood.
I think she will. They should build the next Bound for Glory around her versus Emma or Slammiversary.
Yeah.
Should be good.
Or, by the way, to those of you who are listening on the True Penny channel, if you want to buy me a set of gloves like Emma wears, I'm totally down for that. I'll give you my address.
Oh, man,
Only if I see the purchase order first, or else I'm not giving you my address.
Well, so you need to start an OnlyFans, Dave.
Oh, I need an OnlyFans. Okay. Yeah.
What's it? Only Dave's.
Only Dave's. It's just juggling videos and payments for my Emma gloves. That's all.
And that's it. Really. That's all it is. Exactly.
Only hands. It'll be an only hands.
Only hands. Brilliant. Yeah, I love it. That's great. It's hashtag save Dave. Hashtag only hands.
Juggler. What do you want?
The next match is an old school rules 6-pack tag team match, which I'm really glad they didn't refer to this as like an ECW or hardcore or whatever. I'm glad you just called it this because that's kind of what it is. But Impact have learned to stop using WWE IPs basically as a thing. So I'm really glad that they still are going to have that kind of match, but it's not going to be a detriment to them.
Now, I'm not sure if you agree with me. But I, for one, do believe that old school rules. Come on. Play with me for a second. That makes sense.
No.
Old school, comma. Rules.
I know. I get it.
You get it. You won't give me a laugh.
No.
You're not. Nothing.
No.
Fired from this job.
Anyway, Eric Young, Diener, and Joe Doer versus Cousin Jake, Rhino, and Tommy Dreamer. They should have called Cousin Jake Cousin Merle. They missed a chant. They missed a beat there. Because then, then when he takes a big spot or misses a pin or something, you can just have them go, "Oh, Cousin Merle," and get a pop from everybody. But no, they should do that. There you go. Free check, free IDs. You don't need to pay me. I'm gonna go. I want Rhino to win this because I love Rhino. But yeah, they're not going to. I think it's going to go to Eric Young, Diener, and Joe Doer. But
see, what's weird about this is, well, first of all, yes, I agree with you 100% on the outcome. It's just Eric Young in there is a bit of a mind messer for me because
why?
Well, because I want to see. Okay, I know it wasn't a very successful gimmick, but when you had the New Blood versus the old school ECW guys in WWE when they finally merged brands together. Yeah. I liked that all the New Blood guys were.
Oh yeah, the New Blood versus the Extremists.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yes. Imagine doing that one nowadays.
Wow. Yeah. But if anyone doesn't know, that's what they actually called them. So it was a thing.
Yeah. Don't cross us out of the algorithm. It's a real thing.
Yeah. Amazed they didn't call them the fundamentalists. So what are you doing? Just stop. Anyway, go on.
But yeah, so my only point here is I wish it was somebody other than Eric Young, and you keep that entire team younger. No pun intended. Keep that entire team younger. But either way, I agree with you. I think oldies never win these types of matches.
But I think Eric Young being there kind of adds that sense of gravitas to the match, where it's just like, hey, we're going to come in here and, they're going to learn from it. It makes more sense.
I agree with you that the audience would not care as much without Eric Young there. And I agree with you that the younger wrestlers in this match will learn a lot from Young and the opponents.
This feels a lot like very early TNA where Raven, Slock, and CM Punk was there.
Hey, there was some interesting news about Raven in the Wrestling Wire this week. Don't know if you picked up on that.
Was there? I didn't pick up on it, no.
Okay, let's play Dara Doesn't Follow the News. I've been waiting. I've been waiting for this to happen.
Okay, I deserve this, so I do.
Which of these do you think is true?
See, this is hard because it's Raven, so it really could be anything.
Bear with me.
Right, go on.
Sorry. When I read up close, I got to take off the gimmick. All right. So Raven is putting out a set of poems in a novella style. Odd phrasing, but whatever website. Okay. Raven blames Shane McMahon's friendship for killing his WWE career. Or Raven says that Punk would not talk to him backstage in Impact before their segments. Gimmick back on.
I'm going to go with the second one. Is the second one true? Is it?
Very true. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's unreal. Wow.
It was during a recent interview. He said that, he basically was
And I
complaining
didn't
about
Google
his-
that. I didn't Google that.
No, you didn't. I was
touching
watching your hands. No,
Yeah.
he basically said the Johnny Polo gimmick didn't suit him, would have been better for Shane McMahon, and that they were really close friends behind the scenes.
Wow.
And they started to drift apart, and then his friendship with Shane drew heat from Vince and Linda for some reason. And he added, and I quote, "Yeah, that's true. Me and Shane used to be really tight, but we drifted apart. He'd go out with me every night. Big heat with Linda and Vince. The boys thought I was kissing for my career, but it actually killed my career, giving me heat." So apparently, if you're friends with the owner's children, unless you're Triple H.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. But okay, so the next match is Eddie Edwards versus Sami Callihan in a barbed wire massacre match. And this has been the first barbed wire massacre match that hasn't evolved a bit in TNA Impact Wrestling. So I am pumped for this. They're always good matches. Sami Callihan is going to do some very disturbing things. And this looks like it's, again, what we talked about. They're building up this feud that's been building for about 2-3 years now at this point. So this is probably the blow off. I don't know who's going to win this one. I say the winner of this match is everybody. But maybe Eddie Edwards finally gets his revenge.
Here's what it comes down to. Is this the end? Or do they keep going?
I think this is the end. You know, where do you top? How do you top it? Well, I suppose you can.
Well, we talked about Slammiversary coming up, right?
Yeah, but like, what did they do next? Full Metal Mayhem, and I would say
this is an AEW. How dare you?
Full Metal Mayhem was an Impact match.
What was the match called with Omega and Skateboard Dude? You're welcome, AEW fans. Darby Allin.
I don't remember.
Similar to that.
It was something to that. But Full Metal Mayhem is like TLC for Impact Wrestling.
Well, here's all that I will say. I'm going to pick Sami Callihan. And it makes no sense. And Eddie Edwards is going to win. So I want to preface it that way. That said, I've had the privilege of witnessing Sami Callihan in a backyard while allegedly very intoxicated, doing very, very dumb things to his body, allegedly. I love him to death. So,
right.
No pun intended. So,
as I said, dude, we all win. We all win. I hope it's the main event. It deserves to be. Deserves to be.
Flashbacks of Sam.
Yeah, it's gonna be unbelievable. So the next match is, and it kind of is a little bit underwhelming after a barbed wire massacre match. The Karate Man versus Ethan Page. I'm gonna go with Ethan Page because, yeah.
Why isn't this on the pre-show? Why is Myers and Alexander on the pre-show and not this?
Yeah, that should be on the pre-show. Impact, please don't have that on your show. It's not needed. It's a bad thing.
People will be like, it was a great show almost, but it gets a D for this match.
Yeah, not good. No one wins.
You're going to have more eyes on this pay-per-view than you've had in a very long time because of that 6-man tag match.
Yep.
Don't F it up.
Absolutely. But you know who is on the card? In an intergender tag team match? Our girl, Emma, with Caleb with a K are facing Rosemary and Crazy Steve. Not to be confused with Crazy Steve from iCarly. I'm pretty sure they get that confused a lot, but it's not. It's Crazy Steve from Impact Wrestling. I'm going to go with Emma because, my heart wants what it wants.
No disagreement from me here.
Yeah.
None at all. I didn't realize that Caleb was the person currently portraying Suicide. Spoiler alert. I probably should do spoilers beforehand.
With a K. With a K. Caleb with a K, remember.
Suicide with a K? Is that how he's doing it as well?
Oh, man. They need to bring that music back, though. That was the best music Impact had next to Motor City Machine Guns and AJ Styles non-rap.
Oh, It's Time to Fly?
Yeah, that was so good. So good. WWE should have just bought that for him because that's so much better than his current music. Even though I like his current music, it's still like it's time to. That's what I associate AJ Styles with. So, Anyway,
just think of it this way: the last person to come out to that theme song, possibly ever again, was Hornswoggle.
Well, guys, that's going to do it. Again, this time tomorrow is when you will be hyping up for it. I think it starts at 8 p.m. on the Impact app. I'll probably be live tweeting it. Dave might be doing that as well. And we'll do a review of it next week. But definitely do go over to impactwrestling.com for all the updates. Impact Wrestling, Hard to Kill, live tomorrow from Nashville, Tennessee. So we are going to switch gears now and talk about our main topic. Huh?
Full gear?
No. No. We are going to switch gears and talk about... I'm so glad I picked the show. I remembered that this show is good. And also that we already done Sold Out. So if you guys look on the screen, you can see what the card. But before we get to that, Dave, I'm really glad.
Garrett, why don't you tell them what happened when I started watching this show today?
So my main thing was, I'm like, I can't tell Dave why I wanted to watch this random episode of Smackdown because
told me don't look up anything. I didn't look up a thing. I didn't even read the synopsis when I clicked play. I just clicked play.
Yes, because you would have ruined the surprise. You would have ruined the whole reason why I wanted you to watch it.
Took about 4 minutes before Derek received a text.
Yeah, he sent me a text message saying, "What the hell? Why is it all Triple H matches or something similar?" And I'm like, what are you upset about? It's all Triple H matches. It's great. So this episode of SmackDown actually fits. It's actually really important. Initially, I was just kind of joking with him, but it actually turns out in our little timeline that we've been doing, it's extremely important. So it answers loads of questions. So initially, we're going to do Sold Out 1999, but we've already done that. It's on the channel. And as I was going through all the channel, I'm like, we've already done Sold Out 1999. So, but this one falls in just before Unforgiven 1999. Why are you shaking your head, Dave?
I still don't forgive you.
No, hold on a second.
This resets everything. Sold Out, World War III. I'm good. I'm picking the next pay-per-view.
No, hold on a second. Hold on.
And
hold on.
I understand that you wanted to leave out, certain words because, but direct message. Text to Darren. Are you S-ing me? An entire episode of Triple H gimmick matches, really super angry face. What does my friend, my colleague, my co-host here respond with? Bunch of laughy faces.
Yeah, because I had my fun, and that's the main thing. But all I'm saying to you is, it's like, initially it was just a joke. And then I
thought it was a joke. I was watching, I was like, oh, haha, this isn't really happening. McMahon's just saying it. No, it happened.
Now, initially I was joking, and I was like, okay, this is funny. Let's make fun of Dave. But as I was watching it, I'm like, this is probably one of the most important episodes of SmackDown ever for this time period. And the reason why
my issue, can I just get it out there right at the beginning?
Go on. Absolutely, go on, yeah.
It featured Triple H, and it was amazing storytelling from start to finish. Everything that happened on this stupid episode of SmackDown was done perfectly, and the fact that they were gimmick matches made more sense because you wanted to build up the drama, and Triple H only knows 3 moves anyway, so this allowed him to be more experimental, and it was just absolute brilliance. And that's why I hated this episode of SmackDown, because I did not want to like this, and you made me like this. Bad, Dara. Bad. See,
and this is why you need to watch. The Triple H hate is completely unjustified. Remember, this is one of the episodes of SmackDown that's completely burned into my brain.
It was fantastic.
It was fantastic. It was amazing.
Fantastic. It was amazing. What this was that we don't see nowadays? This was an actual TV show.
Yeah.
This was an actual episode of a television show where you followed a character's arc throughout the entire thing. I was blown away. We don't get this. We haven't gotten this in 20 years.
No.
I mean, it
was amazing.
They tried it with Daniel Bryan in 2014, 2015-ish. But I mean, still.
Yeah, but he's
like this.
He's a B+ player. Triple H is the game.
You're fired.
But okay.
I don't have that ability.
The main reason why this worked, and it's so important that I didn't even realize it was that important. But so much happened in this where I'm rewatching it and I'm like, oh my god, this is like one of the most important episodes of SmackDown ever. Or of WWE programming ever, right? It features the last match of Ken Shamrock in WWE ever. It features the departure of The Undertaker. We wouldn't see him again until Judgment Day 2000. And these things just kind of happen in a throwaway segment where you don't really know what's going on. You see one of the last appearances of the British Bulldog in the main event. It sets up Unforgiven and everything that happens there. It features the last Boiler Room Brawl match. It features one of the only times that you see an Inferno match on TV. It features... That
was a shock.
That was, right?
That was a complete shock.
It features the only 2-on-1 casket match I can recall in SmackDown history. And one of the only casket matches that doesn't actually involve The Undertaker.
Very true. Very true.
So it's also, just...
Maybe so. A lot of people have Triple H in their minds as, corporate Triple H we see now, who, for a payday comes out every so often on a motorcycle for a match.
Payday, because he needs it.
Well, so Bitcoin's going to burst eventually. So, but my point is, and since this episode's theme, even early on, was we're old, apparently, it was really cool watching.
Hey, hold on.
Kid.
Hold on. I still get business to my video store.
Yeah, you. Are you in Clerks? Like, no, you don't. So, yeah, right.
You know what? Actually, one of the things I did want to own a video store. So I am kind of sad that that's a dead technology now.
My parents actually did own a video store when I was younger.
See, that's cool, man. Yeah. That's cool. See, that was it.
Anyway, stop distracting me. Point is, we're old, and man, seeing Undertaker in that fashion is so different from how I see Undertaker ever.
But one thing that's so weird.
Cool. I missed out on that. That like could move around a lot, do thing. This sounds terrible, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I do know what you mean. Whoa. But isn't it weird though as well that Undertaker was American Badass Undertaker like a full year before he was like that was the first time that you ever saw Undertaker like that.
Right.
No, ever. Like,
yeah,
it was hit.
Oh, not just me. You mean everybody?
No,
yeah.
ever. Because this was around the time that Undertaker was actually getting ready to leave WWE, and there was talk he was going to go to WCW and just do that gimmick in WCW, but he was injured, and this was him leaving. So you never saw Undertaker because it was the Ministry were still a thing. The Ministry were hanging out with him, but he was just like, I'm just going to wear this WWE shirt and headband, and that was it. It was weird. It was and I didn't appreciate it as a kid because I was 9 or 10. And now going back and watching it, I'm like, oh wow, this was super important. This was like so understated that it went away in your head, and then when you came back, you're like, oh, this makes more sense. But again, it's just one backstage segment that you don't even really think about. He basically crucifies X-Pac and beats him to death, nearly enough, which is the most vicious.
That was brutal.
Beating. Yeah,
on network television, mind you, like
UPN,
free TV, not UPN. Cable.
No,
ooh,
killed X-Pac.
You could get away with some stuff back then.
He pulls basically what happens is he pulls X-Pac out and he's in bits. We'll talk about when we're running down the show, but crazy, man, absolutely crazy. But yeah, like this show again, I saw some people online call it the Herculean labors of Triple H. I think that's fantastic. That should be a DVD.
That's actually what I wanted to jump to, other than Undertaker. And God, it's weird saying this, but it was really cool watching Triple H as a kid. Watching him as a kid really turn into the star that he would be in the next couple of years. Yeah. As you said, this sets up a lot of things, and we knew he was on the path. And sometimes 2020 makes it a little difficult for hindsight, but he looked like a kid just trying so hard to just get what he was promised. It hit me. It worked. And I'm only saying kid because at the time he was younger than I am now. Obviously, Triple H is much older than I am.
But so this is Triple H for me. This is Triple H.
But you know what I mean? He had that vulnerable.
No, I do know what you mean.
Kind of.
But this is it. This is like he's he's out there and he's trying stuff, and they kill him. Like he goes through absolute hell. But it's amazing. And what's cool about it is like we should have probably started with this. When you're watching Unforgiven and stuff like this, a lot of it makes sense. Like he is the kind of hero of the entire thing, even though he's like the biggest villain in the whole thing. It's his story. the whole thing is like 1999 is his story, 2000 is his story. The Rock, Austin, and Mankind are just kind of there with him. But it's so amazing when you kind of take a step back and you're like, well, it was Triple H the entire time.
Yeah,
Even though they don't say it.
This episode of SmackDown made everything else make more sense. Make me believe why. Listen, I didn't understand why when Triple H returned in 2003, I think, why he got such a standing ovation at
2001
at Madison Square Garden.
Now it makes sense. Yeah,
I get it now.
Yeah,
I get it.
But okay, so the card is up on the screen for anyone who is watching us. So basically, the whole story. This is the week before Vince McMahon came back and defended Linda, Stephanie, and Shane, because Triple H was freaking out that he lost his title, or he was bullying them, all this stuff, and he gets beaten by Vince McMahon thanks to his uncle Steve Austin. There's a six-pack challenge set up. The referees are on strike still. They're still doing the scab referee thing. This is after SummerSlam, a couple of weeks after SummerSlam. 1 week before Unforgiven. A couple of days. 2 days before Rebellion.
Oh, I didn't even put that together. Yes.
So yeah, this is what I mean. This is why it's so important. They would never do this ever. This is such a crazy time, and I love this time of wrestling. It's brilliant. It's the best period of wrestling ever. Anyone who says anything different is wrong. It's amazing. They are. I'm sorry. It's facts are facts.
I like the late 80s.
Still wrong. But anyway, no, this is brilliant. Like they tried so much. It was such a cool, unique period, and they've never ever replicated this specific feel again. But anyway, so that was your context. Triple H came out and he's like, "Look, I'm going to Unforgiven." Vince is like, "No, you're not. I'm back in as CEO. I've relinquished the title on Raw. We have a six-pack challenge, the first ever six-pack challenge at WWE. You can be on it, but you have to go through each member in the six-pack challenge, not together, but in a series of matches, one after another, a gauntlet, but a gimmick gauntlet. You have to face Big Show in a choke slam match. You have to face Kane in an Inferno match, The Undertaker in a casket match, Mankind, a Boiler Room brawl, and The Rock in a Brahma bull rope match. Now, pretty much as soon as that's over, Big Show comes out and destroys Triple H because no way he's able to chokeslam him. And, it's like, that's it. So Triple H starts the night off with a big L, and then it's a climb. Obviously not much to it. It was pretty much just, it was literally less than 2 minutes.
It was it was to fill that doubt in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by the way, I've decided from now on that anytime that we talk about Vince McMahon, I just want to give people his age. So Vince McMahon, during the whole Steve Austin hyped up, getting in shape, totally legally, period, the dude was 60 years old. This episode of SmackDown happened when McMahon was 61 years old. I cannot yet. I'm still trying to comprehend that from when we looked that up a couple weeks ago. Like, I assumed Attitude Era Vince was like late 40s, 50s. No, Shane's 28, McMahon's 60 something. It's what?
Yeah. Dave, man, it's one thing that modern WWE doesn't do. It doesn't really give you this context. It mythologizes so much that it loses its impact, its feel. And one of the things that we're privileged to do is be able to go back and watch these shows in context and provide that context to people. It's brilliant. You just don't get it. It's one of those things that you really have. And even myself, as I said, a lot of this stuff is burned into my brain, but there's still certain things I miss. And obviously one of them that I missed was the whole Undertaker thing. But yeah, Vince wasn't a young man.
No, he wasn't at 60 that I can't do at 32. So
absolutely,
God bless him.
So the next match was a short, and I mean really short, count-out victory for X-Pac over European champion Mark Henry. And it was pretty much shenanigans. Like, there's a couple of players who repeat over and over again here. Triple H, China, X-Pac, Mick Foley, The Rock, and The Undertaker would kind of repeat throughout the whole night, and obviously Vince. But yeah, shenanigans. count out victory for Mark Crenny thanks to D'Lo Brown. X-Pac disappears, and he comes back later on in the night. Triple H in his second match, the Inferno match with Kane.
On that one, super quick. This is another great thing about how context changes the way I perceive the product, and X-Pac is one of them. I've listened to his shoot interviews. I know that he gets lots of credit for things and that somehow he was important. What you don't get unless you actually go back and watch these shows in context with their pay-per-views like we've been doing is, wow, he was super over. Super beyond what you'd expect to be over.
Yeah.
And so that then gives it like, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but honestly, his opinions meant nothing to me prior to when we started doing this show. And now that we are, I'm like, oh, like he gets it all. He's spot on. He knows everything when it comes to moves and execution with the crowd, which is the most important thing here. So
also,
hats off to X-Pac.
But did you notice that drink he was drinking? That was a big thing for a while. Even in SmackDown 2, he comes out holding it. It was the DX drink.
DX had a drink?
Yeah, that was a weird. It never made its way over here, but it's like the DX hockey jersey or football jersey that we never got.
Things that you want, but you never got.
I want that so badly. Still, if someone has that, I will fucking buy it off you. Because
apparently we can curse on our stream.
Well, we can do what we want. But yeah,
Derek note need to beep.
Need to beep. But no, seriously, if someone knows where I can get one, only hands Dave. Okay, so the next match was the Inferno match. Man. By the way, the setup. Now I think this was taped. To be fair, I think it was, but the setup was super quick. Like they just had it there. It was like, oh, okay, I guess they have all this stuff just lying around. Like again,
Smackdown was all taped during this time period, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. Actually, it was, yeah. But what was cool about this was right. It was on Thursday night. They actually they would tape it on Tuesday, but play it on Thursday. But in my head as a kid, I'm like, oh wow, do you just have all this stuff like in the back? So, but to be fair,
yeah, right.
No. But when during this time period, yeah, kind of. It's kind of like they might actually have this stuff just lying around the back because they used to do. And a phrase that I love that Vince McMahon did a lot, but they haven't done in years. In this very ring tonight. Which is like they haven't said that in years, and it's like, okay, this is going to be something big. So you mean it's going to be a cage match or a title match or something? They don't do that anymore. It's like it's just kind of happens and has no meaning towards it. Like you're never going to watch Raw and go, okay, in this ring tonight, I'm going to challenge you to a cage match. It just wouldn't happen. You're like, no, okay,
Why doesn't that happen?
I don't know. Like for me, it's like if you're in a feud with someone, or if you're like, right, you beat me last night in a straight match. Tonight, I'm not satisfied. We're going to have a cage match tonight to prove
Sometimes they use it for fake outs. I'm thinking back, like I feel like maybe Dolph or Miz said something in the past, but I mean they don't use it. You're right, exactly like you're talking about. That is actually something I'd like to see them bring back. And honestly, I blame Mick Foley. I think it's his fault. Yeah, because one of his signature lines would become. We actually in a segment with The Rock, he did say like in this ring, but then that would evolve into his line of right here in Phoenix, Arizona.
By the way, I was so glad when he actually in his segment with The Rock on this show, he didn't say where he was, and I'm like, this is so refreshing. It's so much less forced when he goes, oh, we're gonna win tonight here. And I was like, well, that sounds so much better than here in Phoenix, Arizona, or something like that,
I think, but at this point, I think he has to.
Yeah,
for nostalgia purposes, he has to. But yeah, it's really cool to see him actually in the moment, not, But then again, that's because Mankind was going to be the one that gets that boost. He was going to be the one to get that cheap pop. So as Rock and Sock, it makes sense that Rock wouldn't have done it.
Yeah. The Inferno match, a very short match.
That's the most brilliant thing I've ever said. That was like actually insightful.
It was.
Write that down, people who are listening. That's not going to happen for another 6 months.
This Inferno match was very short, but I really enjoyed it at the same time. I thought it was like the perfect length for an Inferno match.
There was that moment when Kane was holding Triple H against the rope, was like kind of a choke out. I'm like, he's not getting like, lit on fire right now, but he is in pain. You cannot get that close to fire and not feel it. That shocked me.
The choke, when they do like the big spots in the fire go up.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like when he did the choke slam, and like you're like, oh wow, that's like the 4th choke slam Triple H has taken tonight. The poor guy is just, the poor guy's getting killed. Like it's just, I did. Undertaker obviously would come out then. Actually, I love the spot when Mideon and Viscera run out, and Kane actually flies over, does the flying choke slam, and then runs up to X-Pac, and basically he gets knocked back. His hand goes on fire, so Triple H wins. He's not really involved in the decision at all. And then runs up but I love the fact that Kane runs up. His hand is still like legit on fire, and he runs up to X-Pac to see if he's okay. And then your man runs out and fire extinguishes him down, and he's just like, oh, okay, all right. And I love the fact that Kane was so worried about X-Pac that he just wanted to see if he was okay. I thought it was a great little bit of storytelling.
I didn't even think it was that he got, maybe I'm remembering incorrectly, but I didn't even think it was that he got pushed back so much as he needed to go save X-Pac. So he's like, this match is over. And it just looks like he just sets his hand on fire by himself and then just
oh, really?
And saves him.
That makes more sense.
I could be interpreting it differently, but yeah, I viewed it as this match needs to be over. Now, Kane, you could have just run X-Pac, but decided to set his hand on fire. Plus, there was nothing on Triple H that was guarded or protected to signify that he'd be the one set on fire. So
again, this is the second kind of. Inferno matches are kind of dumb because it's like the guy who's obviously more covered is going to be the one on fire, not the guy who isn't. It's ridiculous. And the less said about the Fiend matches, the better. But this was fun. I thought this was really good. I really enjoyed this.
I'm so glad we're not covering that.
Yeah. Modern WWE is just upsetting. It's so upsetting because you see how good it is.
There's so much potential, and then you set somebody on fire, and you want us to believe murder is what you're going for. You're allowed to operate during a pandemic, and your response is murder.
Guys, we are going to have to take a break if you're listening to us here on Phoenix 92.5 FM. Not just a break. We're going to take a break on the stream. We're going to have to say goodbye if you're listening to us on Phoenix FM. If you're listening to us Phoenix FM only, what are you doing? Go over and check out the stream live or go over to Nerd to Know Media, the Wrestling Rewind. Get those audio files and check it out because we obviously go a fair bit longer than just the 55 minutes. But thank you for joining us. We're here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Again, hashtag Save Dave and hashtag OnlyHands for Dave.
Yeah. I'll put a link below for my OnlyHands account.
Absolutely. We'll be back next week.
Hope that doesn't exist.
We'll be back on Phoenix 92.5 FM next week. But for everyone else who's listening, we're going to keep going with the Herculean trials of Triple H. And guys, we're back. We didn't take a break there. We just thought we'd keep going.
I mean, I took a break. I'm Googling whether only... Oh my God, there's a hashtag for it.
Of course there is. Rule 34. Or Rule 37. I can't remember which one it is. It's one of them. Anyway, Dave, stop getting distracted by weird pornography. No. We've lost him, folks. Yeah.
I'll log off. I apologize. I'm astonished. Absolutely astonished.
Don't know why you're astonished. It's the internet.
Rule 34. I know.
Is it Rule 34? It is Rule 34. Yeah. Anyway, so the next match was the reformation of the New Age Outlaws.
Wait, before we get to that, we didn't address this earlier, and I wanted to. And you mentioned scab referees. Only Vince McMahon has the balls to run a union storyline when he's literally firing talent that are threatening to unionize.
This wouldn't be the only time he did the union. We haven't gone back far enough where the union are a group, and they're a heel group.
Just what? Oh, and the other thing that stood out for me that we didn't mention was how long did Michael Hayes do commentary on SmackDown? I had no idea he was ever a commentator.
Not long, sure, dude. He did commentary on Rebellion as well.
I know that, but I thought that was like a one-time thing. I didn't realize he was doing weekly.
He didn't do weekly. He just show up sometimes and do it.
Well, that actually sounds like him, so fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was cool. See, again, like stuff like this, they just try stuff, and if it worked, it worked. I actually really enjoyed Michael Hayes and Michael Cole on commentary. They're a really good team.
They're
really good team. And
I've never been so excited to listen to Michael Cole.
Yeah,
like really emphatically just saying, "Man, China's pulling off Jeff Jarrett's pants." Oh my god! Like I was like,
I wasn't a fan of Michael Cole growing up because. Like it was Michael Cole. Like WWE told you not to like Michael Cole. He was the Rock's bitch basically all the time, and then Heidenreich's bitch in a different way.
I mean, I've been a coal miner for life, so
fair enough. But but the thing about it is when he was on, and it was just loud work. He was really good, and yeah, like obviously I'd much rather watch pretty much anything with Jim Ross. Doing commentary, but this was a great performance for him, and this is some of the strongest Michael Cole commentary you can hear. Him and Michael P.S. Hayes really should like reform. They were good. But anyway,
it's the only Michael Cole's team that I like more than the Michael Cole, Josh Matthews NXT on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, that was good.
Some of the greatest wrestling commentary you will ever hear in your entire life.
Absolutely.
Controversial, yes, but I stand by it because I had to recap those shows.
Oh, it was good, man. It was good.
Cole's had it go. Let's keep going.
Anyway. So the New Age Outlaws reformed, which is something we didn't talk about. This also had the reformation of the New Age Outlaws, which was something that nobody thought was going to happen again. And not only that, but they picked up the win against the Rock and Sock Connection, which was huge. They beat the Rock and Mick Foley. So fair play. Big. And it was the longest match as well of the whole night, which is also something that was very surprising. They picked up the win in 6.5 minutes. I love the little angle where Mick Foley's knee gave out and then he hit the Fame Master. I thought that was really a really creative win where they actually won rather than were beaten from skill or, shenanigans. Like literally Mick Foley's weakness was exploited and the Fame Master was hit. It was really cool.
I gotta say that I never thought of Mick Foley as like a true main eventer because I see him as he is, like, a comedic, but to actually see him in these episodes is kind of totally changing my mindset regarding that as well. Again, it's a context thing where I never really understood why Mankind winning the belt was the one spoiler that would get people to switch over and, lead to the end of the Monday Night Wars rating wise. And now that I get to watch him in his prime constantly in the main event, now I get it. Like if you were watching WCW, you know what's happening in WWE. You're paying attention to both. You're flipping back and forth. And so, man, I've read his books, but it wasn't until I watched, for some reason, this episode where I went, okay. I get why people care.
It's almost like I pick good episodes to watch.
Yeah, this is the equivalent of World War III, and you can go F yourself.
Hey, no, it is not.
No, get the F out, right? That's not.
Yeah, man, look, it's one of those things that Mick Foley gets lost in the shuffle of WWE history, And we lost. Dave is still there, but we've lost Dave. Is he back? Oh no, there he is.
Back. No, I thought I saw a spider on the wall, so I was there wasn't. It was just a spot. So
I was going to go to the back of my video store, Dave, and get a drink, but
no, you don't have time, man. I'm back. Leave the red Twizzlers.
It's okay.
Are you a Red Vine or a Twizzler chap?
We have neither.
Well, that ends that conversation. Back to the
I've had both. I like Twizzlers, but we don't. How much do they cost here? They cost about €4, which is equivalent to like $6.
So you do have them, you just don't want to pay
for
them.
you just don't buy them like you would in the States because they're so ridiculous. It's like Lucky Charms. Technically you can get them here, but they cost about €10 a box.
So maybe shipping costs are expensive between America and
well, Maybe. Actually, funny story. Taxes now are a big thing. So if you buy something from the UK, you get hit with a massive round of taxes. Yeah. So that's fun. But anyway, moving on. Midian and Viscera defeated Triple H in a 2-on-1 casket match. So this was funny. Like, I didn't think.
No, they didn't.
Wait, did Triple H win this one?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Wikipedia, whoever wrote this is wrong. Yeah, Triple H did win this one, and then he won yeah.
Because he had whatever, one of them in the casket. Vince came out and said, "No, you have to get both of them in the casket." And he did.
He did. It was like less than 2 minutes, so it was very fast. China
there you
got
go.
involved.
People who think I don't actually watch the product. How dare you?
Yeah, sorry. It's my own
say
fault
it for camera, not the mic, but whatever.
Yeah, it's my own fault for reading it off the screen. Hardcore Holly defeated Al Snow in a weird hardcore smudge. It wasn't very good. I love Big Boss Man came out though and was just wrecking the place. This would obviously set up the Kennel for Hell match, which we all know how that turned out. Check out our show where we review Unforgiven. Not well. Triple H defeated Mankind in the weirdest boiler room brawl I've ever seen. Now, there wasn't many of them. There was
I like the promo though. The promo needs mentioning.
The promo was good.
The shine it and hit him over the head.
But here's what was cool, right? This was like the second boiler room brawl match of 1999. The first one was at WrestleMania. But I think there was only 4. There wasn't many. There was I want to say there was one in 1996, and then I think there was there might have even been 3. I'm not too sure, but they were extremely rare, and that was what was cool about this show was they're like, whoa, they're going to the boiler room brawl. That's a weird match to pick. So it was cool. And you know what? I'm going to say something controversial here. They should bring it back, not with Mick Foley, obviously, but I think they should do boiler room brawls because you can just have them in arenas.
Kane had a couple, didn't he?
I don't think so. Like look it up there, Dave, if you can. But yeah, man, I thought it was a cool match. It was really good. The ending of it was weird, and I remember the ending of it being weird, but I didn't really remember the ending until I watched it again, where Mick Foley's obviously too far away, and when it happened, I'm like, "There's no way he's jumping on Triple H. He's way too far." And then he kind of like loses his footing, and then someone comes over and hits him with something, and then he falls off. And Triple H just kind of walks out. Silly ending. I think Mankind should have just walked out instead of trying to get that big spot. But look, it was what it was. Gave Triple H the victory, so he was 2. No, hold on.
Isn't this what tied him?
This is what tied him. Yeah,
2-2.
This is what tied him. 2-2. So he'd have to win the next match, or that would be it. Right.
Wait, am I wrong about the casket match? I swore. I mean, I just watched a couple hours ago.
So he won the Inferno match.
Yes.
He lost against Big Show.
Yes.
He won he did win the casket match, and he won the. No, he did lost the casket match.
How did he lose the casket match?
He lost the casket match, and he won the boiler room brawl and won against The Rock.
I thought he lost the boiler room brawl.
No, he won the boiler room brawl. We're so professionals. We're professionals. We swear we didn't watch this. We did. We watched it. I watched it today.
I literally, our show started 10 minutes late because I was finishing watching this tonight. No,
anyway,
you're wrong.
No, I'm not. I'm right.
There's
no. Okay, so Chris Jericho. Anyway, the moral of the story is if Triple H wins the next match, he goes through. If he loses, he doesn't. We're tied 2-2. Chris Jericho with Curtis Hughes. This would be like one of the last appearances of Chris Jericho's floozy. He defeated
okay. Oh, by the way, people who thought I was paying any attention to Darren, no, I went back to watch the ending of that match. Yeah, okay. Right. He lost the casket match. I stand amended. Apologies. He got body dropped by Viscera like 4 times, and they rolled it in. Okay. Sorry.
So Chris Jericho.
Guys.
Chris Jericho with
crap.
Curtis
I froze
Hughes.
it on a picture of China. That's not something I want in my visuals. There we go. I'll take Viscera.
I'm just going to let Dave keep going.
No, I'm good.
Are we good? Can I keep going? Okay.
Yeah. What's AJ Styles up to?
Probably jobbing in WCW at this point. Okay. So Chris Jericho with one of the last appearances of his floozy, Curtis Hughes, defeats Ken Shamrock in a first blood match. This is so upsetting. The last appearance of Ken Shamrock ever in WWE, and for nearly 21 years in professional wrestling. This devastated me because like it wasn't until 2 or 3 months later where I'm like, where's Ken Shamrock? Why hasn't he come back? What's going on? The man just left and he never told anyone he was going.
That's the kind of things you don't realize as a kid. It's like, okay, my character's off my show. He'll be back. Like, yeah.
No.
That said, come on. I give it up to Chris Jericho for an ingenious gimmick.
No, I love the way Chris Jericho, even then, was still Chris Jericho. Like, the way he walks out to the ring, it's like, that's still Chris Jericho. He's still doing it. Like, he's still Chris Jericho. You know what I mean?
He was acting like he was the world champion from day one.
From day one. Yeah. He was like, I'm
the
biggest deal.
If he didn't, he probably would never have been.
But here's the thing. This is the last time that Chris Jericho would get a bit of a push in WWE until Survivor Series. Because he kind of disappeared for about a month or two. And in his book, he talks about it where he's just like, yeah, he had nothing for him. So it's kind of weird, like, because he would kind of bounce between these weird matches. He had a fantastic match against X-Pac in Unforgiven, but, you know, it was random. He wasn't really doing anything. He wasn't even in No Mercy, you know, the actual show.
Well,
but yeah, man.
He wasn't in the video game, my heart would say.
No, he wasn't in the video game. He was. But yeah, man. So look, it was a good match.
You're welcome, everybody who played as Este Rios. I did. Didn't know him as a wrestler, but at least he had the luchador moves.
That blows my mind. You don't know who Este Rios is. It's crazy. Okay. Triple H, you will actually. He pops up from time to time. I've
seen him once. He always had a valet, right?
Yeah, it was Lita. That's how Lita made her debut.
I'm sorry, you missed it. I asked if he had a valet, not a. Anyway, what was next on this match?
So okay, in between this, the British Bulldog, our boy, shows up.
Oh, backstage, yep, gotcha.
He shows up, and remember, this would kind of set up what happens at Rebellion, where he throws the trash can at Stephanie McMahon and Ban Jackson. Yeah, man. So look, this was it. He showed up and he was like, "I want my title shot. I want my title shot." Okay, you can have a title shot. You're going to replace The Undertaker in the 6-pack challenge. And he does. But he also wants to be the special guest referee against Triple H and The Rock. Now, Brahma Bull Rope match. Now, remember, they already had a strap match at Fully Loaded, which we will talk about when we go back. Yeah. So, yeah, like check out our conversation about this already in the past shows. But I thought this was a decent match. It's the longest out of all the gauntlets. It's the longest one. And it's obviously has to be because it's the main event. But I thought this was a very fun match. The Rock's second appearance of the night had a lot to do. It was a really fun experiment. I liked the Bulldog in it, but it wouldn't be my match of the night kind of thing, but got the job done. Triple H walks out the victor thanks to the Bulldog. Basically full-on interference. And yeah, that was it. So Triple H is the victor in the Herculean gauntlet. And he would go on to Unforgiven, and we'd have the best ever video package from Triple H and Rock. Actually, it's something to say.
As long as you get the original music and not the network music.
Exactly. One thing, though, Rebellion was after Unforgiven. Just need to put that into perspective because I got the time wrong. Yeah, because remember Triple H.
I was like 2 days before that. Seems crazy.
Yeah,
back to the
remember,
UK.
Remember Triple H would have the belt. He'd be the champion to face the Rock. So yeah, I was wrong about that, but still very very close.
Was the heel, right?
Yeah, well, not for me. He wasn't.
Well, no, I mean storyline wise. So to have a heel do this kind of makes the fans eventually by the end of the episode want to cheer for him, which is weird. And the only way they can really subvert this is by putting much bigger face stars for him to challenge. And I know I made a comment earlier that could have been taken as a slight, but actually I meant in all sincerity. Not only 3 moves, but Triple H is a fantastic sports entertainer. I don't think anybody will ever argue that unless they have a grudge. As far as an in-ring performer, he's got the psychology down. He knows how to work
best
a
of
match.
all time.
Well, now he's no Shane McMahon, but my point here is that move-wise, move wise, he's got like a dozen that he uses. A lot of them are signature to him, which is cool. I mean, it's better to do signature moves for yourself, like a high knee, than throwing in like 10 different moves that the audience doesn't. One thing. Let me finish. No, you don't know where I'm going. Let me finish.
Okay.
Bad Darrow.
Okay.
No, what did you want to say? It's fine.
No, go on.
No, of course I'm not going to let you finish. Let me say what I was going to say. My point here is that Triple H, very limited in terms of actual move set, very talented in how to apply his move set.
Would you disagree?
Be quiet.
Disagree. No, I disagree.
No, I know you. Of course you disagree. You probably think that whatever. So my point here is that the fact that these were all different gimmick matches throughout the night allowed it so that us as an audience didn't have to watch just the same 14 moves being used in a typical fight, because that's what you do on SmackDown. I'm not saying he doesn't know hundreds and hundreds of moves. Of course he does, but the ones he actually does in the ring is very limited, just because, he's trying to tell a story. He's more focused on the psychology. So by having the gimmick matches, we got to see him explore more territory than we normally would. And it wasn't just like, okay, decent wrestler, great sports entertainer. This was like, okay, Triple H can mend. And I think we'll even see this later in his career, as almost all of his matches turn into no holds barred or Hell in a Cells and things like that. He's excellent, but much, much better in gimmicks, because they can hide his flaws, is my point.
Which are none. I know, I do agree with you. You are right. Like, to be fair, there's a weird parallel to this. He did this a couple of years later on. 2007, No Mercy. Remember when he won the belt 3 times in one night with Randy Orton? That was amazing. That was such a cool thing. I marked out so hard for that. It was unbelievable. I remember I just started college and I specifically went home to watch that.
I remember this. This was
so good.
I think that was one of the first pay-per-views I watched in college, and had to
it was for me too,
find means of accessing, because I could not through my normal college system. It was not, I wasn't trying to, but I mean, I had no other option. There was no way for me to actually
there was no network, no WWE network.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Different world. But anyway, no, you are right. Like, and I think this is, remember, like, I find gauntlet matches very boring for that specific reason. You'd have anybody, Shawn Michaels, Chris Benoit, Daniel Bryan. I hate watching, even AJ Styles. I hate watching any of the same guy just out there doing the same thing, because it's very boring. But doing it this way is really cool, because you're like, oh wow, okay, right. I haven't seen these matches a lot, and I definitely haven't seen. And here's the thing as well. This was like the 5th episode of SmackDown.
I did sense, I was going to ask you about that.
It's very, very, very early episode of SmackDown.
And maybe that's why the enthusiasm is so high and Cole is super excited. Like, he had a different vibe on this show than you would get if you tune into SmackDown. Not just him, just in general. The whole show had this bigger than life vibe that now it's, you turn it on and I guess this is my Friday wrestling. Great. Cool. I'll have some wings and watch you, I guess. I don't,
Yeah, there's no attachment to it. You know what I mean? Like, at least this way, you're like, cool. We got this great product, and one thing as well. Like, this was on UPN. This was on like free TV, hella free TV, and this was something that if you're over here in Ireland, you would tune in and watch it on Saturday morning. Saturday morning is when you would watch this. So it was cut initially when I watched it. They cut it down, but I think the X-Pac thing was cut, because that was excessively violent.
I was shocked that was allowed to be on network television in 1999. This is like, whatever, I'm not going to call myself old again, but if you're our age, you know what we mean by they allowed that?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, like, one of those things where you're watching it and you're like, this is cool, but overall the show wasn't something that a lot of people would really kind of come back to, after a while. It would lose that vibe over the next couple of years. But definitely when SmackDown kicked off, it was supposed to be this big behemoth, So look, man, overall, great show. One of the best episodes of SmackDown. Super important show in general. But what would you give this on our scale, which is usually, we'll rate this as a pay-per-view because this was a pay-per-view quality show.
You make it difficult, Dara. You just drop the rating. I mean, if I was grading this as a SmackDown, it's a 10 out of 10 epic seal of approval. If I'm comparing this to pay-per-views, it's an 8 out of 10. But I mean, come on, that's not really. I don't think it should be in that category. I don't. This is one of the best episodes of wrestling television that's been produced in the history of humanity. Period.
Yeah,
it's a 10 out of 10. Is it as good as the fan? I'm a pyro guy. I love the big events, and so there are certain things that will never match up to that sort of perfection, and it'll hang around the 8 or 9. But if I do this as a show, I mean, this is a 10 out of 10. No question. Absolutely. I agree. I think it's a 10 out of 10. If you've never seen this before, make it your business to do so, because it is one of those shows where you're like, I have to watch this. I have to see what this is. This is something they should actually dust off and show again, because this is something it got lost. I forgot about it for 20 years. There weren't, without going too in depth on how television contracts work, if they weren't obligated by Fox and USA to put out live episodes in order to get the agreed upon sums of money that they signed, I would not complain for a second if they decided we're just going to start airing from 1998 to 2000 and whenever till this situation's taken care of.
Yep, they should do that.
They can't because they would lose billions of dollars in the process. So I'm glad that the network's here.
Well, it's honestly what I think would be better as a network show. They should have people from the cut back on even the scale of the shows you have to do and fuse them together. So instead of having all the shows that they have NXT, SmackDown, Raw, but then do stuff weekly where you're like, hey, we're gonna just watch some of the old shows and talk about them.
I love that.
That'd be cool.
They do that on even American Idol did it, where they would have the contestants come on and then talk about, okay, this is what I was thinking about during my audition that you just watched. This is why I chose that. And it would be really cool to get that kind of, I mean, can you imagine Triple H and, Rock and Mankind sitting around the table and just discussing, okay, this is what was going through our minds. I don't mind if you break the fourth wall and say this kind of happened. And that's the kind of stuff I love watching, especially now. I think it feeds well into another show we have here on the network called From the Dark, because it kind of gives you that backstory where there's some political, wrestling political, let me be straight, some wrestling political stuff behind the scenes, and it's fun to explore those types of things. So I'd love to see something like that from the network.
Absolutely, and I think they should. That's what if I was. If I had access to that, that's what I would do. But obviously,
change every theme song to a metal cover of some sort.
Not every theme song, because obviously it doesn't need to be done. But definitely any show team, having the hippity hop isn't as intimidating as a good metal track. Hippity hop is.
So I didn't think this would come up, but I loved the intro for this episode of SmackDown.
Hold on a minute. Have you never seen that?
No. By the time I watched it was WWE, not F. So I was.
You've never seen the introduction?
I haven't seen anything.
Oh my god!
My SmackDown starts until the fisting actually occurs. I was not into SmackDown at all. Pre-fisting, missed it all. Post-fisting, I was in there deep.
Oh Jesus! We're so demonetized, it's unbelievable. Anyway, no,
you
look.
could have just left it. I was trying really hard.
but
that is true though. That's I don't know how else to describe it. People know what I'm talking about. There was a giant
dying fist
on the I'm talking about history, folks. You can't. It's commentary on history. What do you want?
But what I was saying is that's wild that you don't have that history with SmackDown. I remember when SmackDown
Like 03 or
debuted.
04 is when I started.
I remember the first episode of SmackDown. I remember watching it every Saturday. That theme music is crazy. I was so sad when they changed it. I remember when Rhino gored Chris Jericho through that set. I remember making that set out of cardboard as a kid because he never released it. He only released it much later on. Yeah, man, that's crazy. Wow. But there you go. You know, this is great to be able to do that. Like, SmackDown was this whole thing that, you know, I think it in the 20 years after it was a show, it's lost a lot of its identity. But going back and watching from 1999, you can really see what they were kind of going for. And yeah, I love old SmackDown theme music. It's the best. It's actually in the current WWE games as well. You can actually pick it.
What bothers you the most? Now we're talking about themes. Let's drop themes.
Okay.
Let's talk about symbols. Talk about the way WWE. This is a great way, I think, to close the show. Actually, on this note, since we got into it, periodically, once every 3 or 4 years, WWE will change their logo, and that traditionally is when they change the theme song. Let's leave the songs off to the side for a moment. I'm sure we all have favorites. What is the logo for WWE or F change that made you the most like, well, that sucks? Why'd they do that?
When they got rid of, obviously when they dropped from WWF to WWE, that was huge. That was like what? This is weird. But they still had the scratch logo, and I still like the scratch logo. I think it works fine. It's perfect. The PG one I didn't like. I like the current one because it looks kind of.
Do you?
Yeah, it looks kind of current. Like it makes sense. It's like a 2020 company. You know what I mean? Like modern internet facing. It kind of has that feel to it, but.
To me, it just looks like kind of a. See, that's my least favorite, and I guess because it just kind of looks like a Wonder Woman symbol. I'm not sure what they're going for. It's too clean. I don't want my wrestling that clean and sanitized and bias and pay $9.99. That's just what it shouts, and I don't like it.
But that's what it is.
Yeah, I know that's what it is, Derek. I just don't like it.
I know, but like when you had the scratched logo for years in the middle of the WWE's PG era, it made no sense. It was like, it makes no sense. Did it have
to be something that I can make on Photoshop in 5 minutes, or could they have hired somebody professionally that wasn't just an intern thinking like, maybe I'll get that writing job? Like, I don't know.
Well, I don't think they care.
No, they don't. But it costs a lot of money to put that on your jets. So, it'd be nice if it was a good symbol,
But, yeah, no, I don't know, man. But I would say,
welcome to things that Dave cares about that literally nobody else pays attention to.
What I would say is, guys, if you haven't seen this show, go out of your way to watch it. If you're following this show and you watch it week to week or listen to it week to week, and you kind of want the key that unlocks a lot of the bits that we kind of left out, this will do it for you. This will be the whole. This will be the missing link for a lot of stuff, and also it's one of the best WWE produced shows, TV shows they've ever done.
I agree 100%. The only thing I think we really missed was what do you think about that China segment?
Yeah, well, yeah. Jeff Jarrett showed up and it was a good time. China showed up and it was less of a good time.
I didn't understand the pants thing.
She wears the pants. Yeah,
no, I get that. But isn't her whole character supposed to be about like, I'm woman, female, roar, and then...
yeah. See, it slowly would transition away from that to sex change jokes with Chris Jericho, and then would go full blown. She starts going for the women's title. She falls in love with Eddie Guerrero, and then the whole Mamacita thing. And then by the end of the Attitude Era, she would be going for a women's title against Right to Censor. Yeah, no, she moves away very quickly from what she was doing with Triple H because they break up very soon after this. And everything changes for a lot of reasons. But yeah.
Do you think she was buried because of Triple H's relationship with Stephanie and jealousy?
I don't think she was buried as such. I just think she had done everything that she was going to do. Like, you said this as well. You thought China was like way better than she actually was. And then you watch her and she's dire. I think China's range was very limited. She was the first one through the door, and fair play to her for doing it. But
This might not come up again while you're thinking about it. So how do I say this? What I'm not sure what the years were, so I'd kind of want to match them up on her career. I'd imagine it'd be like 2000-ish, but if you know, you know. So when the video was released, did that have an obvious impact on her character's portrayal on TV?
The video with X-Pac?
Yes.
Oh no, that didn't matter. I think that was years after she was gone from WWE.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a mad. By 2001, by 2002, China was gone. Basically, she was completely afterthought, gone.
It was just weird that they just didn't acknowledge her or anything. She just disappeared. I understand later in life why. But
yeah, I think there was stuff with Stephanie and that kind of thing, but she really didn't help herself. And then it just got worse and worse and worse, where you just couldn't bring her back. There was no way. She would turn up on Impact randomly, but
really,
yeah, she has one. Yeah, dude, in early TNA, everyone showed up. But yeah, man, look, it was what it was. I would just say this is the last big gasp for Jeff Jarrett and for China in a weird way. They both do their best career work now, and then that's kind of it. Jeff Jarrett would obviously come back in TNA and have a phenomenal run in TNA. But, I loved Jarrett as like the uber heel. Like, he was so easy to hate even as a kid, but what he was doing in the ring, you're like, whoa, you're horrific. Like, this is horrible. But that's the whole point. You're supposed to hate these guys. Like Triple H, you're like, no, go on, look, you're a legend, But like, that was the difference. I think actually, funny enough, Jeff Jarrett was a more effective heel than Triple H.
Yeah, well, that was the problem with this episode is I didn't feel hatred for Triple H. I'm telling you, and I know it's our age now, but I literally looked at it like, this is a child trying to prove to his future like father-in-law, like, I don't just deserve your daughter, but I can be a mainstay in your company.
Yeah,
like,
well, I think
maybe I'm looking in it. Maybe I'm going too deep, but then again, it's wrestling, so I really don't think I'm going too deep. Like, that kind of stuff really matters with these people.
See, I think you're looking at it. The meta narrative was Triple H was still trying to prove himself as the game.
Right.
He was trying to, and that's what he was trying to do. The whole Stephanie thing, that would come much later on. That would come like 4 or 5 months later on. But it was kind of a case of, remember, like at the beginning of the year, Triple H wasn't even involved. He wouldn't become involved.
He was still being essentially punished from the curtain calls. So
yeah. So he wouldn't become involved until SummerSlam, when he was like, I am, and then he crippled Stone Cold with the chair. This was his real kind of like debutante year, and then 2000 would be his year, full stop. But anyway, we'll get to that, guys. Wrestling is amazing. We love wrestling, and this show proves why we love wrestling, and modern WWE proves why we do not like wrestling. But yeah, we'll be back next week to talk about Impact Wrestling Hard to Kill. Also, there's I did a little small clip on the channel this week. We're probably going to do some for new stories that pop up that we might not get to. So if you guys will like that, let us know. The engagement was pretty good. Subscribe to the channel. If you're listening to the True Penny channel and you don't know what we're talking about, go over, subscribe. TheWrestlingRewind.com will take you to our YouTube channel. Subscribe there, and that would be awesome, because then you'll get more content. So yeah, next week we have Hard to Kill coming up, and then it's all eyes towards the Royal Rumble, which I think is the week after. But we don't know what we're going to cover just yet, Dave. I haven't decided yet. But we do have a great feature on the channel called Posts, so we can actually post what's up. So that's where we're going to be doing it. An overhaul of our social media is coming, which obviously I finally got around to fixing the production values here on the channel. So we will be doing an overhaul of social media. So keep an eye on the channel and our social media if you're following us there. And we'll get into that as well. Again, thank you to Phoenix FM, obviously the True Penny channel, and to you guys who support us and help us and make it easy for us to engage with you, but also give us a good drive to be able to go forward and relive this amazing time. So, Dave, anything you want to add?
You guys continue to shock us week by week. Keep it up. Get the fan interaction coming up. We love it. Really encouraging to see that more of you are paying attention each week. So you can follow me on Twitter at the Dave Stevens, and
Hashtag save Dave. Hashtag only hands.
That's my phrase for the week.
That's
I don't know if you've caught on. Just that's what I'm going for tonight, basically. But yeah, hashtag
Absolutely.
save Dave, and you can check out my OnlyHands account by going to.
If that's not a thing next week, Dave, we're going to be sad.
I'll be sad too, especially after we talked about the Smackdown set. I mean, it just almost like it was planned to play into that particular gimmicky joke.
Maybe. But guys, again, do subscribe to the channel below if you're listening to us on the True Penny channel. Thank you so much. If you're listening to us on Nerd to Know Media, thank you very much. Go over and join us live. What are you doing? Come on. Go over and join us live in the chat, because that would be great.
Gary's saying it now too. Come on. Just
come on. Just do it. Come on. But yeah, guys, we'll be back next week. So for my co-host, Mr. Dave Stevens, we will see you next week here on the Wrestling Rewind. Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.